What is up, guys? So, it has been it's been coming, and today is quite an interesting day because last night we got confirmation that Pokemon Masters would be at least releasing at some time frame around August 29th, and they continued to kind of pour out information after that. And one of the things that they did is they uploaded 6 videos to YouTube. So this video is actually just going to be kind of a quick overview of Pokemon Masters and kind of like how to kind of understand the mechanics of this game. Basically, all of the videos that we're going to be looking at today are uploaded on YouTube on the official Pokemon Masters channel. You can easily find these literally just typing in Pokemon Masters how to play. Like, that's literally the title of all these videos. So if you're interested in watching these videos for yourself, definitely go check them out. Otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and get into looking at some of these videos and try to figure out what they're all about. So starting us off here, we do have game overview, and I want to go ahead and let you know I've already recorded this video and didn't have any audio, so I have already seen all of these videos. This isn't going to be like a reaction to them. Just kind of want to talk about a few things that we do see in the videos and just kind of show these videos off to you guys as well.
Start a new adventure to become champion of the Pokemon Masters League. The Pokemon Masters League, or PML for short, is a grand tournament where trainers from all over the world gather to compete. In the PML, trainers partner with one of their favorite Pokemon. Together, they form a sync pair. Your
Pretty
partner
standard
for the PML is Pikachu.
To be expected. I mean, we've already known that anyways.
Throughout your adventure, you'll meet and team up with many familiar sync pairs, like Brock and Onyx, Rosa and Snivy, and many more. You'll begin by collecting the badges needed to qualify for the PML tournament matches, meaning tough battles against powerful PML leaders like Erica and Vileplume, and Skyla and Swanna. Make new friends, grow and improve together, and aim for the championship.
I feel so much stronger!
If you want to grow stronger faster, you can do some special training with your sync pairs.
Which is nice.
The training area is the perfect spot to train hard and earn tons of rewards.
And we'll actually see some of these items later
The more
as well.
daily missions you complete, the quicker your team of sync pairs will grow. Level up together, learn new moves, and reach past your limits.
I feel power welling up inside me!
So increasing level
Form
cap,
a
standard
powerful
gotcha
dream
type
team
stuff there.
with your favorite trainers, like Pokemon from past games.
So, sync pairs in the PML, trainers partner with one of their favorite Pokemon to form a sync pair. We've already known that. The Pokemon Masters League, team up with other sync pairs and collect the badges you need to qualify for the PML tournament matches. We've also known that. Sync pair training, visit the training area and complete daily missions to make your team of sync pairs even stronger. That's a new one, but quite an interesting one and fairly standard gacha stuff. If you've ever played a gacha game, then training is kind of a way to like sit back and let your game do its thing. They usually have time limits and stuff like that, so works out pretty well for us.
In Pokemon Masters, battles are fought in
Moving
teams
on to
of
moves
3
here,
on
of course.
3.
So
The
teams of
first
3
team
we've
to
already
defeat
known.
all opposing sync pairs wins. Engage in real-time battles, where your move gauge fills over time, allowing your Pokemon to use powerful moves like Thunderbolt and Flamethrower. Your team shares a move gauge, so being strategic with your sync pairs and move choices is key. In Pokemon Masters, trainers can use moves too. Each trainer has their own set of unique moves that can tip the scale in your team's favor.
which we've already known that.
There's a limit to how many times a trainer can use each move, so choose how you use them wisely.
We've also talked about that and speculated that as well.
Least, trainers and their Pokemon can take control of the battle by working together to unleash special sync moves.
Yep, pretty standard stuff there as well.
These powerful moves are activated once your team performs a certain number of actions during a battle. Use sync moves strategically to triumph over your opponents.
Really hoping we get some really cool animations out of that. So, battles are in real time, of course. Use moves as your move gauge fills up over time. Your team shares one move gauge. So, we've already known that. Trainer moves, there's a limit to how many times a trainer can use their unique move. We've also known that. Sync moves, trainers and their Pokemon can unleash powerful sync moves once their team performs a certain number of actions in battle. So, that's one of the things that we kind of speculated about a while back. We talked about this number, how we could see it on not only our side, but on the opponent's side as well. That definitely was a strong speculation to be towards something like sync moves or anything like that. We talked about that in previous videos. So, pretty interesting stuff there. Next, moving on to Pokemon battling.
In Pokemon Masters, you can choose to battle with your team as a single player or in co-op, where you can team up with other players. When single player battling, you control all 3 sync pairs on your team at once.
So, pretty standard single player stuff there. Just being able to control all 3 of your opponents, and then so being able to control all 3 of the sync pairs and basically decide what does what. Pretty standard single player stuff, but
sync pair has a
this is interesting.
Attack type as well as a weakness.
So we have 1 specialty attack type and 1 weakness. So this is kind of alluding closer towards the TCG like we've talked about in previous videos as well, where we have 1 typing that we basically deal damage with, whereas we have 1 typing that we receive damage with as well, that are going to be super effective or resistance. Hopefully we'll see some type of resistance stuff here. It's not all neutral damage, kind of like how in Pokemon Go we take a reduced amount of damage, but there's no immunity and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll see resistances work out here as well. But basically you can see that both Rosa and Snivy and Brock and Onyx have either grass or rock type as their attack type respectively. And then we'll also notice that if we go to this next screen, we can see that up here you can see that the opponent has their weaknesses revealed. So basically once you know you're actually in a battle, you'll be able to see the weaknesses. It doesn't show your own weakness for some reason, but hey, so you can actually see Nosepass and Drifloon there. Drifloon actually has rock as its weakness, whereas Nosepass has grass as its weakness. Because Drifloon is actually flying and ghost, it should also have plenty of other weaknesses. But in this game specifically, we only have 1 weakness as rock. And to give more credit to Pokemon Masters here, this could actually open up a huge longevity play where we see multiple iterations of Drifloon with different trainers and different weaknesses and different moves and things like that. That's the part that I'm more excited for, but definitely similar to the TCG in a lot of ways here.
Editing your team before a battle.
You know what to do.
See, super effective there.
Co-op, you can battle with up to 2 other players.
So this is an interesting thing here.
Each player controls 1 sync pair at a time, while their other 2 wait on standby.
So each player controls 1 sync pair out of the 3 that are actively in the battle, and then we have 2 sync pairs on standby. The thing that isn't answered in the video, and I'm kind of curious about, is if our active sync pair faints, is that 1/3 of the team completely wiped out for now, or do we actually switch out from our active character here with our sync pair into one of our sync pairs on standby? It does talk a little bit about switching out and, you know, kind of playing it strategically so that you can, you know, maximize efficiency and stuff like that. But I really want to know, if this sync pair faints out, do I still have two other options to lean back on, or do I need to make sure that I don't faint out and switch out to keep the battle going?
When the time is right, you can switch out your active sync pair and battle with another. Work together with your allies to create attack chains and defeat your opponents.
So we've also seen that in one of the more recent updates as well. Single player, you can control all three sync pairs on your team at once. Use tight matchups to your advantage when choosing your team. Co-op battles, fight in co-op battles with up to 2 other players. Each player controls one sync pair at a time, which they can switch out with another sync pair on standby. So co-op definitely seems to be the more interesting one there. Hopefully co-op is PvP, so to speak, where I basically get matched up with 2 other players, and you know, we basically go in as a team and take out 3 other players that we matched up against. Hopefully it's something like that. It's not really talked about a lot here. I haven't seen any other sources that explicitly say that's not how it's going to work, but there's a lot of talk that there's no PvP mode specifically, like one-on-one. So I'm fine with that if we still get PvP in terms of co-op. I think that's probably going to be just as fun. Next, moving on to sync pairs here.
Sync pairs usually specialize in 1 or 2 different move types, and they can learn
We've already
up to
talked a little
4
bit about
moves
that.
altogether. For example, you and Pikachu specialize in electric type moves.
Pretty standard
Erica
stuff.
and Vileplume specialize in grass type moves.
Okay, so that's one of the first examples that we can really point out. Vileplume also carries poison typing. So just because it carries poison typing doesn't mean that it's going to have both grass and poison. It specializes in grass type moves. So that's kind of the way that they're wording it here, so that you understand that Vileplume, this exact iteration between Erica and Vileplume, is a grass specialist, okay? There could possibly be another iteration of Erica with a different outfit or whatever, and Vileplume that specializes in poison. But for now, we just have the one typing with grass, but there's plenty of open field for DNA to actually just develop crazy ways to implement longevity into this, which is very, very cool.
Erica and Vileplume specialize in grass type moves. The key to victory is to target your opponent's weaknesses and inflict super effective damage.
So
when
pretty
you're
standard
building
stuff what
your
we've already
team,
talked about.
Make sure you choose sync pairs with the right attack types.
Yep.
In Pokemon Masters, each sync pair specializes in one of 3 battle roles: Strike, Support, or Tech.
Okay, so you can see there, we do
Sync
have
pairs with
roles.
the Strike role.
The role of Strike is specializing in attack, which we'll go through all 3 of these in the video, but specializing in attack is definitely cool, and you can kind of notice that they do have this kind of like little fist, like a PewDiePie bro fist kind of symbol there, signifying what role they actually play. Back on this other screen, it doesn't necessarily say role anywhere, it just has that symbol, so that's how you're actually going to be able to tell.
Sync pairs with the Strike role specialize in attacking.
Makes sense?
Sync pairs with the Support role have higher HP and specialize in buffing their allies.
So buffing your allies is really important. I think this is kind of where my brain really starts to get going with this game, because you can kind of choose roles and mix and match roles to kind of build unique teams. Like if I want to have 2 bulky characters, 2 support characters, and also have a glass cannon, then I can kind of do it that way. Or if I want to, you know, possibly have 3 glass cannons on the team and just go all out kamikaze attacking the opponent, that's definitely an option as well.
Sync pairs with the Tech role specialize in inflicting status conditions
Which
and
is
debuffing their opponents.
Probably going to be one of my favorite
Mix and match different
roles to actually
create
play with
powerful
there.
synergy and make your team even stronger. Take that. Let's talk about that synergy now. Blue and Pidgeot, Rosa and Snivy, and Maylene and Metatite make up this team. As team support, Rosa and Maylene will be buffing Blue, the main attacker in this battle.
So you can see two supports, of course, and then we have our glass cannon here. So they're basically trying to give you an idea on how to build teams and how it can be unique to however you prefer to play. Pretty interesting stuff. This is kind of like my favorite part here.
Rosa uses an X special attack, all to raise the team's special attack.
So that support role coming in to
Next,
buff
Maylene
your
uses
own team.
her gloves off move to raise the team's critical hit rate and make
And
their
again,
next attack a
buffing your
sure
own team with
hit.
that support role.
Go! Finally, Strike, Sync Pair Blue, and Pidgeot are buffed and ready to deal massive damage to all three opponents with Air Cutter.
So that's another interesting point here, is that we do have multi-hit moves. We do have moves that will target all three sync pairs on the opposing team. It kind of just opens up the possibilities to create like an entire sweep kind of team. It just kind of opens up possibilities on what you can do in terms of your moves and how you can attack the enemy. And that is a great example of, you know, using those supports to buff your main attacker and then just blowing out all the damage onto the opposing team, as you just saw with Pidgeot there doing it to all three of those fighting types, which is really interesting.
When it comes to mixing and matching for sync pair synergy, the possibilities are endless. Choose your own unique team and compete for the championship at the Pokemon Masters League.
So sync pair types. Sync pairs usually specialize in one or two different move types. Sync pair roles. Each sync pair specializes in one of the three battle roles, either strike, which is attack, support, which is to buff, or tech, which is to debuff. And sync pair synergy, mix and match different roles to create powerful synergy and maximize your team's effectiveness. So the team building part, that's always my bread and butter here. I love to team build, and coming up with unique teams definitely seems like it's going to be interesting here as well. So now moving on to training.
Sync pairs. By winning battles, your sync pairs will gain experience and level up.
Pretty standard Pokemon type stuff here.
Every time they level
Now,
up,
one thing I did notice in the first playthrough that I did, you can see we do have our split here. We do have attack and defense split. Special attack and defense is also split. So that's kind of a great thing coming off of Pokemon Go, where it's, I don't want to say dumbed down, that sounds like a negative thing to say about Pokemon Go, but it's a whole lot more simplified. Basically, it's, you know, shoved into a CP formula, which kind of tells you like how strong that Pokemon potentially is. I mean, I'm okay with the CP formula and how it works. I mean, it's just basically an indicator. It doesn't actually define your Pokemon, because something like Mewtwo versus Slacking, Mewtwo definitely has way more attack potential than Slacking does, even though Slacking's, you know, attack stat is insanely high. It's all based on moves and stuff like that. So it's definitely nice to see that it's not so diluted when it comes to the actual stats of a sync pair. So it's nice to see that we still have speed separated here.
level up, their stats get a little bit higher.
Ooh, I'm getting stronger.
When a sync pair reaches a certain level cap, you can use items to help them unlock those limits.
So standard gotcha stuff there. Hitting a level cap and then using items to raise that level cap.
Sync pair can grow stronger and reach even higher levels.
Yep. And as you saw there, we do have another level cap after 60. I would assume that it's a level 100, but of course that's up in the air. It could be 75 for all we know, but at least it's there.
Higher levels. Sync pairs can also use training machines to learn new moves.
So like we saw in previous videos,
Learning
training
a new
machines
move instantly expands
gonna be
your
used to
options in
unlock
battle,
things.
allowing you to try out various new tactics.
specifically moves like we just saw.
Have your sync pairs learn lots of moves. Then jump into a battle to see them in action. Reaching a certain level with a sync pair can sometimes unlock Pokemon evolution.
So this is a really cool thing.
Battle it out in a special evolution sync pair story and watch your Pokemon evolve.
So there is some type of story associated with the evolutions, which is really cool. I like the fact that it's going to give a lot more lore and a lot more meaning to the evolution, not just like, oh, I hit a certain level, boom, we've evolved. It'll give a little bit more depth to the actual game when you actually have to play through a story pertaining to that evolution, which is always nice. And it's always great that we have evolutions, because that was one of the talking points that a lot of people were asking about. Will we get evolutions? Will we get evolutions? And yep, we will.
For some sync pairs, evolution means learning an awesome new sync move.
So you can see late fee bubble beam there. We've already seen this before.
To make your sync pairs even stronger.
So, leveling up your sync pairs, win battles to help sync pairs gain experience and level, learning new moves, use training machines to learn new moves, evolving Pokemon, reach a certain level to unlock Pokemon evolution for some sync pairs. So, some pretty interesting stuff. Next, we're going to move on to training part 2, which includes some really cool information. I'm really excited.
There are even more ways for you to train your sync pairs.
Tell me. Tell me about
As
it.
you progress in the story, your sync pairs will be able to learn passive skills. These activate automatically whenever you battle.
So this kind of right here, if the Pokemon enters battle with full HP, allows it to endure a single overwhelming attack with 1 HP left. So endurance is basically going to be like sturdy in the main series games, but if the Pokemon enters the battle with full HP. So it seems like we're actually going to have to heal our Pokemon after each battle or each, story mode piece that we do. After we complete a battle with another sync pair, we are going to have to refill our HP based on what this sounds like here. So, okay. Items, I guess. They're trying to keep you in the game as long as they can by making you grind out, potions and stuff like that. That's pretty standard gacha stuff as well.
There's a wide variety of passive skills. Some of them raise your Pokemon's attacking power when you're in a pinch, while others make your Pokemon more resistant to certain status conditions.
All good stuff.
Unlock your sync pair's true power and make your team even stronger.
So you can see that was a quick example of Pikachu having endurance, remaining with 1 HP, and then being able to still get another turn after.
If you scout a sync pair that's already a part of your team, their sync move will automatically level up.
Okay, so that's an important part. So scout a sync pair that's already part of your team to level their sync move. So what that tells me is basically like standard gacha stuff where you summon. Keep in mind that I've only really played Dragon Ball Legends, but when you summon in Dragon Ball Legends, you get the character and you basically are powering them up with stars. Once you hit 7 stars, you technically can't power up that character any further. You start to receive an in-game currency instead. So leveling up sync pairs is quite interesting because we not are necessarily leveling up them, but we're increasing their sync move power. So my question is, what happens when we hit level 5? Because if there's a summon mechanic where we actually obtain characters through using in-game currency, what happens if we pull it after we've hit level 5? Do we get some kind of training item or training machine like they've called them? Do we get basically like a refund on our in-game currency? Like, how is that going to work? That's my big question based on this small segment here.
Strengthen them to turn your sync moves into one-hit knockout wonders.
So it's basically the sync move that just gets more powerful there.
Even further, you can use star power-ups.
So this is another important mechanic here.
Special items to push your sync pairs beyond their limits and increase their number of stars.
So basically, we're able to power up our sync pairs by using items that increase our star level. As you can see here, it requires 20 stars to get from 3 stars to 4 stars on Misty. It's not quite clear if it's going to be 20 stars for every character to hit 4, or if it's going to be just specific to each character. As you can see, Misty is level 90 here, so I'm assuming that next level cap is going to be 100. But you can also kind of understand that basically you're able to power up your characters just by grinding out these items that increase your star level, which is okay. That's completely fine with me.
The more stars they have, the higher their maximum level becomes.
Yep.
Every sync pair has the potential to become a 5-star powerhouse.
So that's nice. So learning passive skills you've learned to activate automatically whenever you battle, leveling up sync moves, scout a sync pair that's already part of your team to level up their sync move, and increasing potential, use star power-ups to increase your sync pair's potential. Every sync pair can reach 5 stars by using star power-ups. So some very interesting points here. Definitely an interesting tidbits of information. Of course, if you want to go check these videos out for yourself, they're just on the official Pokemon Masters channel here, just how to play. And I mean, it's looking pretty good so far. I'm still super excited. Can't wait until we at least get to play this game. I can tell you that there's been some talk of a demo coming out, but I haven't seen anything just yet. So if it's possible for me to play it, because it is going to be a demo for another country, if it's possible for me to get a hold of it, I will definitely play it. I will definitely put some of it onto the channel so that you guys can see it. But until then, we're basically waiting for August 29th for global release. I'm assuming that's still their plan. So that is actually gonna be it for today, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll just go ahead and roll those end credits for you right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Always remember that if you like to like videos, you could do that, but if you don't, you could be that guy. Otherwise, let me know what you have to say down in the comments below about the video. I do highly appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want to support me in any way, there are several links down in the description for Patreon, joining the community here on YouTube, or even just directly PayPal if that's your thing. I greatly appreciate everyone's name that's on screen, as you guys have showed some sort of support outside of just viewing the videos, and I thank you guys. You don't understand from the bottom of my heart. So until our next video, guys, I will catch you then.